so today we're gonna go over a deadlift. I'm showing it with a dumbbell because most of my workouts, or all of my workouts, are home workouts, and it just makes more sense for me to show it with a dumbbell because that's what I would be showing it with in the workouts that we're doing together. Traditionally, it is a barbell movement, but you can do it either way. So, here we go. First things first, you want your feet hip width. So just right under your hips is good. We're doing a regular stance deadlift, not a sumo, so right under your hips. And this is a hip hinge movement. It's not a squat where you'll go down and you'll see a big movement in the knees and a big one in the hips as well. And the knees are also able to go forward a little bit in a squat. In the deadlift, we don't want that. We don't want a lot of forward knee movement. We really don't want any. For the most part, tiny bit. So we are doing a big hip movement here. So you can almost think of it, if you want to make it real easy, you try to keep from your knees down still, and someone came back and popped you in the hip flexors, and you're like, whoa! So your butt goes back, your torso goes forward, and you're staying nice and long here. So big bend in the hips, not much movement from the knee down. All right, so that's something you want to keep in mind. You also want to keep in mind that you want to be long through the core or through the torso. That's going to help you to remember to engage your core, which is very important in the deadlift, especially as you start doing heavier weight. Really any weight, but if you're doing something challenging, you really don't want to go, dropping down, lifting something up without your core being engaged. So here we are. Traditionally, you start down for your deadlift. Sometimes with dumbbells, you can do it a little differently, but today we're going to start in that down position. So here we go, get in, hips go back. Things to keep in mind before lifting your weight. You're going to grab the weight, core engages, lats engaged, and you lift and back. So the reason we want to make sure that our lats and we're engaging in our back as well, because if you don't, there will be a tendency to just lift the weight like this. And yes, that may be exaggerated the way I'm showing it right there, but that can lead to dumping into your back, injuries, just pain in general. So make sure that when you get into position and you engage that core, you engage those lats as well. So if you want to think of it like you're pulling your shoulder blades together, engaging all through there so that you're more stable, core, back, everything's working here. Deadlift's really a full body movement, but you're super targeting the glutes, all right? So here we go. We get down into our hip hinge, core engaged, lats engaged, and drive up through the feet and back down. So you don't really want weight in your toes, but balls of your feet to heels. And ready? I'm going to do a few reps for you to watch. I'll probably add some voiceover so that it's helpful while you're watching. So here we go.
All right, so as you can see with every rep, right before I lift the weight, I am engaging my core and engaging my lats, keeping my torso nice and long, almost like I'm trying to reach out through the top of my head where my ponytail is. That will really help to remind you to keep good form and engage your core. Remember that this is a hip flexion / hip hinge movement pattern. Your glutes are really what should be driving the motion to standing. So remember, make that mind-muscle connection, engage the glutes.
All right, so a few things real quick to remember. Core engages, lats engaged, long through the torso, glutes are working here. This is not a quad dominant movement. We're really trying to recruit those glutes to pull you back up. So you get hinge over and your glutes are pulling you back to standing. All right? So if you need to practice that hinge movement, you find yourself like, what in the world? You can get close to a wall. So you can set up for it. And so you can just arms down, practice the hinge. Go for touching the wall lightly with your butt. Your chest is going to go parallel with the ground here, but that does not mean you want it closed off. You want it open. So when you're going over, you're not bending like this. Open chest and back. That's a big part of your lats being engaged as well. If you find that you are closed in the chest, your lats are not engaged because you're pulling them back to engage, and see how my chest just opens. So yeah, you can practice on the wall. You can practice with no weight, just really getting that hinge pattern down where your knees are not see how big the angle is. My knees in the back, it's open, big angle. Hips is not. So again, real quick, just before we go, squat, completely different than this hip hinge right here. So again, like I mentioned before, your torso will face the ground. Core is still engaged, chest is still open, you're still long. And yeah, so those are just some important things to remember. I hope this was helpful. Let me know. The voiceover will be added, so I don't know why I'm even saying it, because it'll be in there when you see it. So I hope this was helpful. Let me know below if you have a question or something that I didn't make clear enough for you, and I will see you next time.